Welcome to Part 1 of the Participant and Host's Guide to Anton Raid. In this part, we will go over what the point of Anton Raid is, the long-term goal, how to build a good Anton Raid team, and understanding Anton's unique UI elements. If you want to skip to a specific part of the video, here is a topic list. Click where you want to go. Timestamps are also available in the description if you are watching on a mobile device. The point of Anton Raid is to clear each phase and get a card flip reward from each one. Your Anton party needs to have at least 2 clears before you are eligible to collect your rewards. If your team does not have 2 clears, you will not get any rewards for that phase. You will get Demon Invitations, Condensed Antoniums, and Soul Fragments. The latter 2 will be used for buying weapons and armor. The long-term goal with Anton Raid is to get a savior weapon. It's debatably the best weapon a player can get that isn't a drop from hell mode. You get a savior weapon in one of 2 ways, either by luck from a card flip, or by trading in 20 Anton Soul Fragments to Wound Leonier's shop. Each card flip has a chance of giving you one of these Soul Fragments. If you only end up with Condensed Antonium, you can trade in 120 Condensed Antonium for 1 Soul Fragment. Additionally, you can exchange Soul Fragments for any of the Anton armor sold in Wound's shop. These armors can be upgraded further with a recipe. However, these need more materials than just the ones obtained from Anton Raid. Before you do each raid, don't forget to check your quest log. Look at the limited quest section to accept your Anton Raid daily quest. You will get goodies that help you out down the line. Also, there's a feat quest that offers you a free epic tier item if you clear raid 5 times. To begin looking for raids to join, press your peer search button, or click on Find Raid in the main menu. Here are some things you will want to know before picking or joining a raid. Raids often have confusing looking names, so I'll break that down into keywords. If you see the word pub in the raid name, that means public. In other words, they will take any stranger, assuming you live up to that leader's standards. If you see the word sell or a number, that raid is looking for people to pay them for a carry through raid. Rich characters do this if they aren't geared enough yet. 16-man or 4-leg means that raid is doing a specific raid strategy that requires epic set gear. 20-man raids mean that the raid will have a slightly easier time thanks to the extra team. LF means looking for, typically followed up with all, meaning that raid is looking for all types of classes. Otherwise, it will state the type of class it is looking for. If you can't get into a raid at all, consider joining a guild to help you get started. Before the raid starts, you can bring up your peer search menu and press spacebar to see who is in your raid. You will notice next to their name it says None or Ready. Raid cannot start until everyone has Ready next to their name. Once everyone does, the raid leader may click on Jactor the Eagle Eye to start the raid. In order to set your None status to say Ready, you need to spend 50 Magtoniums on an energy box, sold by the nearby NPC Neon Siger. Once you buy it, you will see it in your use inventory. Use it like any other item and your status will be set to Ready. If you are leading an Anton raid, when people apply to your raid, you will see the standard party request window pop up. Be sure to click See Info so you can look at the applicant's stats and gear. For classes that are DPS, you often want to look at all the gear and their weapons. Anton raid leaders often have a gear standard that applicants must meet. If your entire Anton raid has bad gear, you will most likely take too long to clear each phase, and you will end up resetting the raid over and over until time runs out. An example of what would be a very geared player is a player with a full epic set. This can be a full armor set, or both an armor set and an accessory set. At the very least, you want to see an ancient legendary set, Econ or Epics. Do note that people with legendary armors are barely scraping by and will probably need a carry of some sort on their team to make sure they clear. Also, at least a +10 weapon is a necessity. If you see people with Halidom gear or magic sealed rares, auto-decline them. If you see people without clone avatars, you should most likely not take them. You should also make sure that their physical or magical critical chance is above 60%. A Chronicle set for some classes is actually tolerable. Classes that are like this are Vampire Lord, Genie Wiz, Nin Empress, Dark Lord, Saint, and Nemesis. For Seraphs or Saints, make sure a Seraph's intelligence is at least 3,000 or higher, and that they have at least +5 levels in Valor. For a Saint, make sure he has at least a 9-piece Vow Chronicle set, and 2,300 of either Spirit or Vitality. If you see people with strange types of armors on, like Mixed Chronicle or Unique, it is most likely a swap set. Players use swap sets to enhance their personal buffs, or party buffs, so be sure to ask these players what their real gear is before letting them raid with you. Additionally, you can check an applicant's Explorer information to see how many times they have raided. The less the raids, the less experienced they probably are. Last but not least, check the applicant's guild. The guild that player is in can be telling of what area of the world they are playing from. As you probably know, DFO is a peer-to-peer connection, so having a laggy party throws a wrench in everyone's plan. Try to avoid this if you can. Taking in a lower geared player or one that is new to raid is not the worst idea in the world, but if you decide to do this, you need to make sure you put these players on a team that will carry or teach them. Tossing them into responsibility head first is a surefire way to make things complicated very fast. You should know that each class has a different type of damage, physical or magical. You should pair classes with similar damage together. Some classes are designed to enhance a certain class's performance, like how the Soulbender shreds magic defense, thus enhancing magical damage outcome. Or how the Female Grappler helps buff physical DPS. There are also classes that specialize in super holds. Some classes have plentiful holds, while some only have 1 or 2. Super holds are skills that stop the boss from moving, attacking, or activating mechanics. I've left a list of all the classes, their advancement names, type of damage, and role in the description of this video. There's also the factor of elemental damage. Having elemental synergy is a great thing. It'll help keep DPS consistent, and can even raise DPS, considering some classes can shred elemental resistance on monsters or bosses. You should think about putting classes that have similar elemental skills, weapons, gear, or damage on the same team. A good example of a dark elemental team would be Dark Lord, Immortal, Nemesis, and Overmind. That team would then have massive amounts of shadow damage, and would synergize well with each other. Each team needs at least a bit of synergy. Each team needs damage dealers, at least one person who can hold, and a support class. Popular support classes are Saint for their buffs, Seraphs for buffs and holds, Nen Empress for shielding, and Savior for the damage buff, as well as healing. If a team's damage or gear is really good, they can get away with not needing a support, but make sure that team is okay with this decision first. If you plan to put a weak or undergeared person in your raid, you need to make sure that they're going to get carried in terms of damage. Put a player who is extremely geared on their team. For example, a player with a 5-piece epic set and an epic weapon. Alright raid leaders, if you're all done with your applicants, you can begin team building. You can also start team building as people enter your raid. It doesn't matter. If you want to apply a member to a team number, click on the team number window and pick the player you want assigned to that team. Raids usually tend to use teams 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The player on the list with the golden crown is the raid leader. The players with silver crowns are the leaders of each party. The party leaders are the ones who lead around that team into the dungeons you tell them to, so try to make sure they are people you can trust. You'd be surprised how often this messes raids up. If you haven't noticed yet, you now have a new chat tab called Raid. You can talk in it just as you would be able to talk in party chat or guild chat. The raid chat sends messages to the rest of the people in your raid. The raid leader has a unique chat filter called Notice. When the raid leader types into this one, it displays a chat banner on the screens of all the players in your raid. If you're in a dungeon and you want to check on your raid's clear counts, you will need to press Escape and open up Find Raid. Then press Spacebar, or click on My Raid to see the raid list and clear counts. Anton Raid has some exclusive windows and status UIs you can look at. As a raid leader, you will need to understand the Anton Raid status board. You can press Insert by default, or click on the button at the top right of the screen to bring up the board. Depending on what phase you're on, you will see different things on the board. At first, you will only see black smoke, and the amount of clears it needs still, as represented by these red pips. After that, you will see Phase 1's dungeons and timers. On Phase 2, you will see the energy barrier meter, and which 3 hatchery dungeons have spawned. On top of all of this, you will see what team is where and who is on standby, aka not in a dungeon. You can also check off the 2 boxes at the bottom if you like. If you choose to do so, you will see 2 new windows you can look at and move around. The left one shows dungeons and their timers left, if you don't want to open up the board each time. The right window has info about your teams and their progress. You can see how many life tokens that team has left to use, the HP percentage of the boss they're on, and the buffs they have. At the bottom of that window, you will see buttons. Roll your cursor over them and you will see what they can do. If you wish to use one of them, note that there is a long cooldown before you can do it again. You must click on a team after picking the buff of your choice to apply it. The buffs on the left apply to a team you need to click on and select. The buffs on the right apply to everyone in the raid. The Anton Raid channel is open on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday, and will become unaccessible upon standard daily reset times.